Okay, in the first part of this question we simply have to sketch this curve. You should have learned the shape of that curve from chapter 6, I think it was. Even if you haven't, in an exam situation, you can make a crafty table of values and plot a few points to get a feeling for what it looks like. Part B, trapezium rule. So that's a standard method. There is a formula on page 8 of your formula booklet to turn to, but what you really need to know is the table of values with x and y values. The limits are 0 and 2. We've got 5 ordinates and 4 strips, so it tells you the number of strips and ordinates to use. On the sketch you've done, or another copy of that sketch, if you draw in the 4 strips, then the 5 x coordinates you need you should be able to fill in. And then for each x coordinate you work out the corresponding y coordinate using this formula, and enter those values into the y column. And then you have to remember the recipe for what to do with your y values. You need to work out the width of the strips. That's the h value you use in the formula. You either use page 8 of the formula book or the method of setting it out you used in your notes. And this should always be 4 easy marks for the trapezium rule. If you're not getting those at this stage, I would recommend looking for all the questions you can on the trapezium rule and just practice it, because it's 4 of the most reliable marks you can get on Core 2. And then another easy mark for saying the simple change you could make to make it a closer approximation is to do with the number of strips that are used. Then part C, complete re-entry point here. B was a bit as well, but this is definitely a re-entry point. We're going from this graph to this graph, so we've got to decide the +7 and +3. Normally that would be 2 transformations, but here you can actually word it as a single geometrical transformation. And then part D, yet another re-entry point. We've got the curve y equals 2 to the power x plus k plus 3 intersecting the y-axis. So you've got to remember, intersects the y-axis means that something equals 0. And that is a clue for what equals 0. In fact, we've just got coordinates of a point on this curve. So we can substitute 0 and 8 in for x and y, and that makes this into an equation where the only letter left is k. K is tucked inside a power, so you need to remember how powers and the other numbers in the equation can be rearranged. So what you do is you put in your x and your y, and you'll end up with 2 to some power involving k equaling another value. And then you rearrange that into a log statement, and k will turn out to equal log to some base of some number, and m and n and numbers that you can give the values of.